Hello again, everyone. I'm O'Neill Williams, and welcome to our program. Well, we're whitetail hunting in Georgia. Very, very confident that I'm going to get a good buck. I've been to this place many, many times, and I'm wired tight and ready for a great whitetail hunt. But I want you to stick around for the end of the program. I think you'll find it interesting, so you need to stay right there for O'Neill Outside.
O'Neill Outside is presented by CVA. It's just a better gun.
At the very first of every hunt, doesn't matter where you've been, doesn't matter what the situation is here. Take the time, manage the time so that you can be sure and sight in. It's kind of like fishing. You can't remember the last few casts, so you need to cut your line off to make sure. When you go, especially with a muzzleloader, you need to sight in. You don't know what's happened to the shock, the wave, the last person that touched the gun, the last time it was packaged, everything. So we're at 100 yards and I'm going to sight in, and it should be just about right. Let me get my pack so I can make sure this happens correctly. Fire and hold, everybody. One inch left. That's good. That's where it was last time I shot. 1 inch left. We're all set. Want to join me? It's about to start.
O'Neill Outside is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops, your local Toyota dealer, Rockwell Tools, the Whitetail Institute of North America, the Game Saver Food Saver, Real Tree Camo, Bojangles, and Conus Optics.
We've got to change our strategies. Let me tell you what's transpired so far. I went to a place yesterday afternoon. Very, very dependable. I've taken many, many deer. It's a food plot wheel there about a mile. Great stand, just really good. And we weren't seeing very much. And then just about dark, the coyotes started running the deer. And this food plot here is about 3 acres that we were on yesterday, and you could hear them. They were running the deer all around, and they would run, jump and run. They all around the back side of us and around the other side till pitch black dark. Ran everything out of the food plot. So we went back there this morning to, again, a very dependable place. one little doe and one little spike. We're going to move, and I'll tell you about that in a few minutes, but it reminds me about, in Georgia at least, and in many other states, the limits have changed, the season limits, specifically reducing the number of doe days and the doe harvests. Wonder why that is. Well, it was evidenced yesterday afternoon. There's so many coyotes now, they're just running wild. They have no natural enemies except us, and they're really playing havoc with the fawns and with the deer in general, but especially with the fawns. So that's the reason the DNR, the Department of Natural Resources in whatever state you live, that's the reason they adjust the days according to the population and the needs of controlling the deer herd. Pretty good idea. These DNR guys aren't just hunters, they're scientists, and the decisions they make are based on population or the lack thereof and the level of predation by coyotes. Imperial clover food plot. We're going to change and hunt a place this afternoon it's not this one. I wouldn't be here now. It's like this. It's a food plot of imperial clover. Now, let me explain my philosophy to you. It's kind of simple, but it's worked so far. It's a buck-only weekend in Georgia, here in this state. I can only shoot a buck, and that's what I shoot most of when I do. The philosophy is, and the practice works, if you will go where the does are, then the bucks will follow the does too. After all, it's the rut, so that's what the bucks are looking for also. So if you go to a place like this with imperial clover, the does will be here this afternoon, and so will I at another place that looks just like this, and hopefully the bucks will show up. Hunt where the does are to harvest the bucks. And the most productive food plots I've ever put in, and this owner of this property told me today that they've ever put in, is whitetail imperial clover. And he's been doing it for the last 3 years, and it really does work. Pretty, isn't it? We're pushing on to the afternoon hunt. You know, I told you we're going to a different spot. I'm using a 250 grain power belt aerolites and some fabulous new binoculars from Conus. They're 1050s. Never have used anything that powerful, and they are outstanding. I've had a lot of people on Facebook, emails, on the radio show, asked me again about what is this nitride deal with the CVA muzzleloader. I'm not a scientist, but I'll try to explain it to you. It's a salt bath, if you will, and electrolysis. You see, the barrel is black. The result of this process, it changes the metal inside and outside the barrel. It turns it black, if you will. That's why it's this color. It makes it super slick. It makes it super hard. Very easy to clean. It's a slick shooting barrel, okay? And quite frankly, I guess this is the buzzword. This is a muzzleloader that, because of this nitride process, it won't rust, ever. It has changed the metal for the barrel into something that's super hard, super durable, and super long lasting. And if I don't stop talking and get over there, the afternoon's gonna... You can go to the stand too late, but you can't go too early. We made it. We intended to come in early. We have. It's only 2:15. It's cloudy. It may rain, but we can hunt I know with enough camera light to run till about 5:45, so we've got several hours. I guess what I'd like to show you, it'd be tough for you to see, that this is an imperial clover field that has been fertilized. Wow, it's tough for you to see the clover, but out in there, see, the way it's designed, grass grows up over the clover and protects it so that the deer, the forage is on the clover, but this grass protects it and shades it, keeps it from getting burned away and dried out. So even though it looks like a grassy lawn outside there, believe me, it's thick with imperial clover. Tough to tell, but it must be 10 inches deep. I expect some action, and hopefully you'll be online to see it. You might comment here that with all the noise that you're making when you first get here, go ahead and get out all your stuff. Get the gun ready, get your binoculars out, get your rangefinder, get the ranges of everything around you, so that they're just not fooling around with anything after the light starts to get a little bit low. Go ahead and do everything now. Get it done. You've made lots of noise getting in already. Just do it now. Now relax and hope for the best. The wind is all over my right shoulder, blowing very hard that way. We've got storms coming, and so I expect to be able to hunt right here, and wind's just about right for that. My confidence reigns supreme. This is a great place, but it's not turning out so well right now. The coyotes, we're seeing a lot of does, and I'm getting brokenhearted because we stuck with it a couple of days. We thought we were going to do well, but I had to leave for some stuff, so I had to postpone, come back later. I prepare for all my hunts just like you do, and when I return after processing, I put everything into a food saver. I have the recipe coming up is ground venison meatloaf. And it came out of one of these bags just like this. You should consider that. You'll never lose anything to freezer burn by using a food saver. Here's a great idea for your ground venison. Now, if you don't have ground venison, just use ground beef. It just really makes no difference if you're not a hunter and don't have that sort of thing. So let's start off with some Italian cheese, Parmesan. Of course, I've got the venison in here. Some peppers, some breadcrumbs, and you gotta have garlic. Okay, now give me a second to get this together. It won't take long, but you know, when you watch our recipes, if you don't have ground venison and things of that nature, substitute something else. I mean, I use the ground venison and various things, the quail and all of that, because I like to complete the hunt. That's part of the hunt. That's part of what we do as an outdoorsman, and you got to make full and good use of whatever it is that you're going to process and eat and hunt. I'm using a paella pan on the big green egg. The egg is an oven now because I have the convector. It's 350 degrees. There's my paella pan. Kind of a funny sound. It's a pan that you cook in. All right, here we go. I'm gonna do it right on the paella pan. Don't worry about how it looks. Mound them up there. That's a little guy right there. It'll cook down, don't worry. All right. Gourmet steak seasoning. It gives it a nice smoky flavor. And this is something O'Neill came up with. You can find it at stores around. Top it off with some tomato sauce. Cook it at 350. Sounds good, doesn't it? It really is, and I'll show you when we're complete. Mini venison meatloaf pepper rings. Sweet. And you can get the recipe by going to o'neilloutside.com, biggreenegg.com. Big Green Egg, ultimate cooking experience. This adds a little work to the hunt, but it makes it fun too. Let me give you an illustration. If I'm hunting in Georgia, I'm almost always, except maybe when I'm hunting giant hogs, I'll use 100 grains of powder, 99.9% of the time. If I go out west, then I may change to 150 grains of powder. In that case, I need to sight in again. It allows me to go through that exercise, which is always fun anyway. The most important thing with this nitride barrel 50 caliber CVA MR is accuracy. And that's why the barrel is so important. So matching the scope to the rifle with a change of powder or even the change in elevation from Georgia to Colorado, you need to sight in again. And that's your CONUS hunting tip of the week. And it's a good one.
There's more O'Neill Outside coming up. But first, let's thank our sponsors. Year One, Georgia Power, Bug Band Repellent, Solar Bat Signature Sunglasses, Southern Link Wireless, Hodgdon Powder, O'Neill Outside Spices and Seasonings, and ExploreGeorgia.org, the official Georgia tourism and travel site.
Time for the CVA guest book this week from Kenneth Forrester in Kingsport, Tennessee. He says, "We watch your show weekly," with the emphasis on we. Listen. "There's always a bunch of information for me and my daughter to use when we go hunting and fishing." Kenneth, you've recruited a lifelong partner. I think that's admirable. What do you say we send him a CVA muzzleloader? I think we will. If you would like to be awarded a CVA muzzleloader, go to o'neilloutside.com, the CVA guest book. If we use your comment on the air, CVA muzzleloader will be headed your way. Well, we're back. It's been a week, and we're confident we're going to get a buck because it is a buck-only time of the year. Right off the bat, man, does are everywhere, and remember the lesson? Hunt where the does are. So watch what happens. We're seeing a lot of does. I mean, a lot of does. We're patient. A buck walks in. I'm not sure whether I should take him or not. What do you think? Should I have shot that buck? I didn't, but let me tell you a little story. This is called a Tacticam. It's just a little high definition camera, and it runs for quite a little while. And on the way in that day, I put this Tacticam in the forks of a little tree, a little bush, right at the edge of the hunting area. And that deer walks in, ooh, right to it. Then you decide, did I make a mistake in not taking that buck? Too late now, but you can think about it. Closed captioning for O'Neill Outside is brought to you by Timbuktu Outdoors, making fishing and hunting convenient and ever more successful.